From bantamweight fighter Rob Font being on Team Alexander the Great, to Henry Cejudo proudly standing by his El Pantera win prediction. Here are the fighters' predictions for Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. So Volk and Yair have got their next showdown all locked in, and it's gonna be off the charts. Volk's walking into the ring with an impressive track record of 25 wins and just 2 losses. And he's built his rep on lightning-fast moves, killer striking skills, and a fighting style that'll make your jaw drop. Not only is he the current UFC featherweight champion, but he's also tied for the top spot as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the whole world. That's right up there with Islam Makhachev, folks. And that's why bantamweight division fighter Rob Font is on Team Volk for this one. He said it's a tough prediction, but Volk's definitely coming out on top. Now let's talk about Rodriguez. This dude claimed the interim title after putting the squeeze on Josh Emmett in a battle that went down at UFC 284. And with a record of 15 wins and 3 losses, he's no slouch either. In fact, he's won 4 of his last 5 bouts, with his only loss coming from none other than former champ Max Holloway. This guy's got some serious firepower. Volk mentioned in an interview that he knows who he's up against. Rodriguez is like a wild card, an unpredictable player in the ring. The man's got an army of attacks that could catch anyone off guard, but Volk's confident that he's got this fight under control, and he's counting on his defensive skills to help him come out on top. Volk said he ain't taking Yair lightly, and that Yair's dangerous as hell, especially when we're talking unpredictability, knockout power, and a whole bunch of tricks. He said he's here to prove he's the best in the world, but he's not stupid. He's been keeping tabs on Yair, and he knows that the guy's been on fire, looking unstoppable in his recent fights. The fight is so unpredictable, even middleweight fighter Tresean Gore couldn't decide who's going to come out on top. And he's got a point. Tresean knows that both Volkanovski and Rodriguez are hungry as hell, ready to give it their all in that octagon. Yair's got that fire burning inside him, and when he steps into that cage, you can see the determination in Yair's eyes. The guy's got some serious skills, and he's not afraid to unleash them. And then we've got Volkanovski, an absolute beast of a fighter. Tresean can't underestimate his strength, but here's the thing. According to Tresean, Volkanovski might have a slight advantage, especially when it comes to wrestling and grappling. And that's just where he shines. He knows how to get down and dirty on that mat, and that could be a real game changer for him. As for striking, Tresean believes that Volkanovski might have a challenge on his hands, because he's going to have to face a guy who's just as quick and unpredictable as him. And that's where things get tough for Volk. Rodriguez is lightning fast, and his strikes can come from anywhere, making him a real threat in the stand-up game. But hold up, don't get it twisted. Tresean knows that regardless of who has the advantage, this fight is going to be an absolute banger. Both of these fighters are going to bring the heat, but featherweight fighter Bryce Mitchell has already decided who his winner is. According to him, Volk may not be the flashiest or the most explosive fighter out there, but he knows how to play the game smart. Sure, Yair might have the edge when it comes to speed and power, and that man can throw incredibly fast strikes that makes your head spin. But Mitchell believes that Volk's strategy and ring IQ are going to give him the advantage. Volk's fighting style is all about analyzing his opponents, and he doesn't rely only on force or flashy techniques, because he uses his strategy to exploit his rival's gameplay instead, to control the pace of the fight. In his fight against Max Holloway at UFC 276, Volk's strategy was to exploit the openings in Holloway's defense. He studied Max's style, watched every move he made, and found those little chinks in the armor. During the fight, Volk was patient, waiting for the right moment to strike. And when the time was right during the 5th round, Volk came out swinging with his calculated aggression. He knew exactly how to throw Holloway off balance, and with a swift leg kick, he countered one of Max's jabs, throwing off his timing. Max was caught off guard and stumbled forward, leaving himself vulnerable to Volkanovski's right hook. Then bam! That punch landed hard, and it rocked Holloway. But Volkanovski didn't stop there. He also used his deception skills by tricking Holloway with his hand movements. And right when Max thought he was getting into some intense hand-to-hand combat, Volk had a surprise in store. He threw a leg kick instead, catching Holloway off guard again. And to keep Max on his toes, Volkanovski even faked the leg kick, only to switch it up and send a lightning-quick strike to the head. Mitchell's a huge fan of Alex's strategies, and thinks that Volkanovski's mind games are gonna wear Yair down as the fight progresses. Bryce says Yair's explosive style can take a toll on his body, because all those flashy kicks and spins are gonna drain his energy, especially as the fight goes into the later rounds. And that's where Volkanovski comes in. This dude fights smart, and he's gonna use Yair's weakness against him. And Bryce isn't the only one who thinks Volk is gonna outshine Yair. More pros joined in on the conversation, and it looks like most of them are placing their bets on Alexander the Great too. Johnny Walker's convinced that Volkanovski is one of the best fighters in the game, especially in the featherweight division. I mean, we're talking about a division filled with champs like Brian Ortega and Arnold Allen, but Volkanovski stands out the most. That's saying something, right? Walker said that Volkanovski isn't just the best in his division, but he's also the best pound-for-pound fighter out there. Yeah, regardless of weight class, Alex is a beast to him. Walker also mentioned that age ain't nothing but a number for Volkanovski, and that this dude can keep fighting and winning like there's no tomorrow. And as the years go by, maybe the wear and tear might catch up to him. But for right now, he's in his prime, and he's making the most of it. Steve Garcia is also trying to figure out who could possibly beat Alex right now, and agreed with Walker on this one, saying that Volk's hit his prime, and he's not budging an inch. Johnny Munoz Jr. also got his money on Alex, and mentioned that he'd love to see Yair pull off an upset, but Volk is just too amazing to bet against. Joseph Holmes also chimed in, and according to him, there's no one but Max who stands a chance against Volk. As for the welterweight fighter Matthew Semmelsberger, he completely supports Volk and said he's like a god in the octagon, and reminded everyone that this dude used to weigh 220. That's one solid tank right there. Even with all these supporters, looks like Alex's biggest fan right now is featherweight fighter Arnold Almighty Allen. In an interview with the man himself, Arnold didn't hold back. He straight up said he wouldn't favor Yair at all in this battle, even though he's a freaking grenade. He said Yair's got skills in every direction, but Allen ain't crazy enough to bet against Volkanovski. He knows Volk's gonna outwork Rodriguez, shut him down, and straight up cancel him out. But Volk's not gonna walk away from a fight with Rodriguez without some battle scars. Plus, let's not forget that Allen's coming off a win over Holloway back in April, and he's gonna be next in line for whoever wins the Volk versus Yair battle. But hey, let's not count Yair out just yet, because he's got champs like Triple C rooting for him. Henry gave his 2 cents on this battle, and he believes that Yair's definitely gonna give Volkanovski the toughest fight of his career. He said Yair brings some serious firepower to the octagon, especially with those long leg kicks. If he can keep Volkanovski at bay and be a bit more tactical with his strikes, he might have a shot at taking down the champ. Yair's kicks are something else, and trust me, Henry knows this because they're pretty tight. They're lightning quick, and the length he gets on them is just insane. Even Cejudo himself said he wouldn't want to step into the cage against Rodriguez, all because of the trouble his kicks can cause. They're a game changer. So if Volkanovski thinks he can just run through Yair, Cejudo said he better come up with one heck of a game plan. Henry mentioned that if Yair can really focus on his timing and be super calculated with his strikes, including both kicks and punches, he might just pull off the upset. He gave Yair a few tips because he truly believes Yair's got a real chance to beat Volk. And he told him that it's all about finding that sweet spot and investing in his shots rather than just throwing them randomly. Because it's a 5-round battle, so he's got to reserve that energy and use it wisely. So from Triple C proudly standing by his Yair win prediction, to bantamweight fighter Rob Font being on team Alex Volk, here are fighters' predictions for Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez.